Hi, welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. We had an email inquiring about how to cut Toyota keys. We're going to show you how to cut a standard Toyota key here. As you can see, this key, I'll try and show you the profile of this key because I'll try and get a little bit closer. It's not exactly straight, so holding it in the actual key cutting machine can be a little bit tricky. It's a little bit hard to see. That's the profile there. Now, with a machine like this is the Silker Poker. We have some of these for sale on our lock shop. The address will be down the bottom. There's two jaws. You've got your single-sided jaw, where if you try and clamp this in, what will happen is it will just sort of flop all over the place and can actually roll. If you can see that, that's what we call the key rolling. And when you go to cut it, it'll basically just fall out. Now, you can use both jaws, but there is a technique when you're using it on this type. If you have a key machine where you're finding this key is hard to hold, what you'll need to do is get a little piece of wire like this. You can use various things, paper clips work, bobby pins. This is just a piece of wire that we had, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it along the side of the blade like that. Okay, right in the groove. That will allow me something solid to clamp onto. Okay, what we're doing now is we're lining the key up in the jaw using a piece of wire. This is our piece of wire here. Okay, you put it along the side of the key like this, and then you would clamp it all together. The piece of wire allows you to hold the key without the key moving. So I'm just going to lightly clamp it there. Okay, so now it's clamped in. The actual key won't roll around. That's on the single-sided jaw. On the double-sided jaw, you won't even need the piece of wire. It's the same key, and I'm just clamping it in there just to show you. And with the double-sided jaw, the groove on the actual vise goes into the key, so it won't move. So you can do it both ways. It's not particularly hard. This piece of wire is nothing special. This is just a piece of wire to clamp along the side here to allow the vise to squeeze on a good solid point. You can also use things like key rings. You could straighten them to get your piece of wire. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to actually cut the key. Now, we're using the Silker Poker. They are available on our web shop. We do have some more available, and we're going to do it on the double-sided. So loosen off the jaw, spin it around to the double-sided clamp, pull it up, twist it round. Okay. Now there's one more technique for cutting this type of key, and that is where to line it up from. With other car keys, I'll quickly show you another one. This is not a car key, but it's a good example. With other keys, they normally have a shoulder where you would use these to actually line it up from. There's no guides on the side of this Toyota key. This is a TOY43. And also this is the same technique as a TOY43R, which is the same key just in reverse. So what you would do is you would need to line up your blank key. So put that in to where it clamps quite nicely. Put your original key in, exactly the same groove. Make sure it is in the same groove, because you can put it in the one groove high and your key won't be accurate. Yep, there we are there. Okay, so they're now clamped in the exact same groove. Now we would use a piece of metal. This is nothing special, this is just a piece of metal that will slot into the cutout on the actual vise. So back it off a bit, slide the key back, push that all the way down and push that all the way forward. That's what we call a tip stop, because you're lining it up from the tip of the key. I'm going to do the same with my blank. Put it in, loosen it off, slide the key back, push my tip stop tool all the way down, push the key forward, and then just clamp it up. Okay, that's how you line it up on a double-sided jaw, and if you want to line it up on a single-sided jaw, you will be needing a piece of wire to actually stop the key from rolling. Okay, so now we're just going to cut the key, turning the machine on. Okay, so now we've cut one side of the key. We just simply take the key out, turn it over, and we can cut the other side of the key. You don't need to rotate this key, you only need to rotate this key, because the grooves are on both sides exactly the same, so you only need to rotate this side. Once again, slide your key in, line it up, and away you go. Hope this has been some help with cutting double-sided keys on the Silka Poker. If you need any more information, please email us. If you need help, videos on any other key cutting, please email us and we'll be happy to help. Okay, we're just going to show you one more example on how to cut it on the single-sided. It's probably best we show you both ways of doing it. I'm starting with my blank again. I'm using my piece of wire, putting it along the side, putting it into the actual vise that holds the key in the key machine, softly pulling it back, using my piece of metal. You can just use a ruler, this is nothing special. You can use whatever you can find that's just a standard piece of metal, probably about 2.5 mil thick. Okay, now I've loosened it off, pushed my key, pushed it all the way forward till it hits the tip stop, and then I've removed it. Now we're going to do the same. I'm just going to line it up just like that with the original key. Okay, so back to our key cutting. Okay, so we've lined up the blank key. Now we're just going to use our original key. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put the piece of wire along the side, so that allows us to be able to clamp it. Loosen that off. Now this is just a key ring that's been straightened or a piece of wire. You can find this just about anywhere. And it does help you with this particular key, it does help you. You won't need to do this with all the keys, this is just one particular example that you will need it. It'll stop the key from moving around and rolling, because if you don't clamp it properly, you waste a key blank and then you get bad key cutting. Okay, so that's nice and tight now. I've lined it up from the tip stop, same with this one, I've lined that up from the tip stop as well. Okay. They're both in there nice and tight, give them a wiggle, make sure they don't move. Turn the machine on, press the button. Okay, now that's the first side cut. I'm going to take it out, turn it over, put the piece of wire back in, loosen the jaw, tighten the jaw just enough so it's finger tight, put my piece of metal back in to line it up to the tip, loosen the jaw again, slide it forward, clamp it back up. Okay, check it's not going to roll, push the button again. Okay, now that's the key cut there. I'll just give it a quick buff just to show you. Okay, what you're hearing is just me quickly buffing the key. So I've taken off all the burrs along the side, so there's no burrs or bits of metal that are going to get stuck in the lock when we test the key. And I'll just show you against the original key. So that was the example of cutting it on a single side compared to the double-sided. Double-sided are usually for double-sided keys, but you can, as long as it doesn't protrude out too far, use a single side to cut double-sided keys if needed. So it's just another technique, and as you can see, they're both the same key, and that's how you cut a TOY43 on Silka Poker automatic machine. We do have more machines for sale. Feel free to email us, and I'll also show you how the key works in the door now. Okay, so we're at the car now. We're just going to try our original key. Lock and unlock. Both sides. Lock and unlock. Duplicate. Lock, unlock. Lock, unlock. Okay, looking at the ignition. This is our duplicate key. Starts. Spin it around. start. Okay, now for this actual key here, one thing is not to, when you're lining it up in the jaw, make sure that all the cuts get cut and the machine doesn't stop here. So when you line it up, you want to use the tip stop at the furthest point, not the point back here, because you might miss out on a few of the cuts. The next thing is, this is a double-sided convenience key. What that means is it can go in one direction and then you can turn it over and do the other direction. If you find that it only works on one side, it means one of your sides, either that side or this side, is incorrect. So just go over it again and recut it. So it should work this way, turn it over, it should work this way too. Okay, that's our video. Thanks for watching. And also, when you line it up, make sure that when you're using the multiple spots to line it up from the tip, try and use the furthest one. So what that means is the cutter will actually go all the way over the key. Otherwise, what you might look the same, but you might actually miss out on some of the points up here. So make sure the cutter goes all the way over the key. Other than that, you should be able to cut a fairly decent key. That's a TOY, if you can see it, TOY43, right there, made by Silka, cut on the Silka poker machine. Thanks for watching.